It always starts with friendships, doesn't it? Change comes from trust. Those two gentlemen, Leo, who used to be at WWF Switzerland and then had a lightning moment and started this amazing boutique Brainforest, met John at our conference. Like minutes later, these two were like going on and come up with an amazing project for Suriname. I get goosebumps, literally. So the stage is yours, my friends.
Thank you, Marco. Yeah, thanks for bringing us together. Our session here is called Saving Forests, Making Profits. And I was against that title because it feels a bit dangerous to say that. I feel kind of some of the NGOs ready to attack out there. And it's what we need. We do need scalable business models to protect and restore huge amount of forests. And that's what we do at Brainforest, Venture Studio for Forest and Climate. And like, why forests? So we have the climate crisis we all know enough about. But some of you probably do not have the biodiversity collapse enough on your radar. That's the next big thing. So as an investor, I would look into that. And the great thing with forests is it tackles both the climate crisis, we know CO2 absorption, and the biodiversity collapse, because forests, they are home to 80% of biodiversity on land. So that's why we do forests. Now, how do we build those scalable business models? Well, we have a special model because we take catalytic philanthropic capital and combine it with impact investment. So we take philanthropic capital to really understand the problem. So as a venture studio, we really start at the very beginning. So understanding the problem in depth, and then ideation, create solutions, and check it in the market. They need to have a valid business model. And when they do, then we incorporate them and create impact for profit ventures. And those ventures then to grow, they attract impact investments. Now, we don't do this in theory. We actually have built two companies so far. Silva, a marketplace for forests. They were here and presenting as well. And the Ecosystem Value Association, also present here at NOAH, the first fully digital carbon credits from reforestation with the first geography in Germany. Now, what's crucial is it needs investors. So we were able to attract 6 million of investments, impact investments for these two ventures. And now they are scaling and growing further. Now, for the next ventures, we look at how can we take products out of the forests, highly nutritional products in our food innovation lab, so that we create revenue streams for the local communities. And biodiversity and other ecosystem services, how can we monetize those to actually bring capital to the forest communities that are living in or close to the forests? Because only if the local populations, they have long-term economic incentives to keep the forest standing, it will work long-term. Otherwise, we have no chance with those interventions. Now, eventually, we want to reach 20 million hectares of protected or restored forest by 2030. And to do this, we obviously need to scale the Brainforest Venture Studio. So we are looking for philanthropic capital and for our ventures for impact investments. Now, John was here last year, as Marco was saying, and ever since we've met here a year ago, we have done lots of wonderful things. And actually, to our target here, the next Brainforest venture, Biotara, will contribute surely a lot to our target. So over to you, John.
All right. Thank you, Leo. And again, thank you, Marco, for making this connection and inviting me to be at this wonderful conference. So, my name is John Goedschalk, and I am a resident and citizen of Suriname, the greenest, most forested country on Earth, which also happens to be one of only 2 carbon-negative countries. It is my home, and I'm here to protect it. The reason why Leo and I were able to connect on this is because I've spent about 10 years actively protecting the forest and working with indigenous and tribal communities on figuring out how do you actually make it happen? How do you make it credible? How do you make protection real? And one of the best ways that I've found so far, one model that works, is create a venture. So we created a venture together with the Trio village of Alalapadu, where we are making Brazil nut oil. We have created jobs. We have created security. We have kept out gold mining and illegal wildlife trafficking for 235,000 hectares. 235,000 hectares with one venture. So we got to thinking, how do we scale? And where do we scale? So we started doing some research, and we found out that Suriname is full of these wonderful types of trees. These types of trees that will help make these types of oils. Super valuable oils, ready for, be it the food market, the cosmetics market, you name it. And it's a treasure map full of these different trees with the communities that are living there with them. So how to unlock that? That was the next question. So we came upon a franchising model. We said, why don't we take all these issues that I've found over the past 10 years working to make this a success and put them into one formula. That means capital, technology, and access to markets. If we can put that in a formula that we can then offer for rapid scaling to these communities who would then become franchisees and co-owners, then we can reach the scale we need. Then we can really make it count. And in order to do that, we have now put together a business case, and we are here looking for seed, or actually pre-seed funding, I should say. And we are looking to close that over the next either couple of days. I'm open for the next couple of hours as well, if anybody's here. But otherwise, we'll take until the next quarter to make sure that closes. After that, we go into the final seed rounding. And by 2025, I expect to have at least 10 franchisees up and running. By 2028, 50 plus. That means we're going for rapid scaling. And that's because we don't have time. We don't have time to keep at these old ways that don't work in terms of conservation and in terms of making forests worth more standing than dead. And this is that solution. So the financial model we'll be applying will be that the franchisees, the communities, will be selling directly with our help, and we will be charging 25% over that revenue. And for that 25%, they'll get access to capital, marketing, technology, any kind of administrative and management support they need. And we will be at break even within 3 years. By year 5 at $43 million in revenue, and by year 10, as much as $240 million. So who's gonna buy this oil? Some people might ask. Well, I'll tell you, there's a pretty decent market out there. The total market we're targeting is $475 billion, which consists out of the nutraceuticals market for $454 billion, and another $21 billion for the cosmetical chemicals. Now, what does this market look like in terms of values? You've got extractive on one hand and regenerative on the other hand. And then you've got the high-value commodities and the low-value commodities. Now, currently, this industry is dominated by either petrochemical ingredients or monoculture plantation ingredients, which are deforestation-rich. Or you have the smallholder farmers. We are giving an entirely new dimension to it. We are putting in regenerative farming, harvesting, for high-value commodities, which will be community co-owned, fully traceable, carbon negative, and biodiversity positive. And we already know who our customers are going to be. It's these folks you see right here. Because after looking at the market more deeply, we've seen that these companies like Clariant, Givaudan, Bayer, Cargill, BASF, all of these have identified conservation, climate positivity, and respect for communities as core values for their companies moving forward, as well as key instruments for the supply chains to reconfigure towards. And there's even a wider movement that puts it up. So if you're looking to actually have impact, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about taking 10,000 vulnerable families out of poverty. We're talking about 4 million hectares protected with biodiversity maintained. And we're talking about 3.2 million tons being sequestered every single year. That's as much as taking 1 million cars off the road. And this is a team that's going to make it happen. Together with our ecosystem partners, you can see here, Brainforest, NOAH, many others, of course the Data Alliance. And we are looking for about $500,000 to $1 million in pre-seed and about $2 to $3 million for the actual seed round. We'll also be looking for some impact debt at later stages to buy all the machinery. But one of the most important things we need right now are strategic partners that will get us to the cosmetics and nutraceutical industry. So if you're looking for impact, here it is. Here's your chance. Get on board, let's have a conversation, and let's make sure we save the forests of Suriname. Thank you.